All right, time for another stream. We were so far last day. Oh, let's see. Oh, nowadays I move things to client over here. So let's go. And then here I'm going to open the server. Not going to connect right now, so I should have probably run the server first, API. Okay. And then using the hold reloading, I'll just make a little change and then there we go. So this is where we were yesterday. I'm not sure, by the way, if I'm gonna make it like a daily stream. It seems like quite a lot, but I'm quite motivated right now to try and really push this app forward. And to maybe do, yesterday was like 4 hours of streaming. I think today I'm aiming more for like 2.5. As you can see, I'm still trying to, find out what is best. And I've started to make some shorts. Take little pieces of the stream and then put them into shorts and kind of give people some highlights. I hope that can help you as well in case, these streams are way too long, which they probably are. But really the goal of this stream is to end up with a bunch of code and also with now a bunch of shorts. So a collection of shorts and a collection of code, and then that way these streams are really kind of the long form, maybe for the diehards who, really want to see how the cake is baked, how the bread is made. I don't know what the English expression is for that. I am Dutch, by the way, so it's okay for me not to know everything. But remind me maybe, if you can, if anyone is listening eventually, to make the size sometimes a bit smaller for the shorts. But it's fine. So far, I've just kind of been video editing a bit, learning how to do that. So it's been fun. Okay, so this is the app. We can play some music. Hopefully, it's not too loud. It's not loud. It's fine. And we did the thing that you can add things to the queue and go through the queue, and also put on shuffle and looping, repeating. And then this should repeat the same song. I don't think I tested that before. Let's see. People gotta be free, and yeah, it's fine. Okay, so looping a single song also works, single track. Okay, so what do we want to do today? There's much to do. I think we want to show the queue. And I'm just gonna, I guess, show it to the right of even this screen. So I'm just gonna put it next to each other. I'm not sure, Spotify probably does it differently, but again, we're not trying to completely make Spotify exactly. We're just trying to get the features in that a normal music player has, and that's why I've been saying Spotify. I think people have been misunderstanding that too. They come in and they're complaining that it's not Spotify or something, but it's like, okay, man, but I'm just making a music app and Spotify is the famous one. So I should maybe change the name of the stream, but I don't know. Is it clickbait? I don't know. I don't think so. But here I'm gonna go and make my queue, and I guess this should only show up once the queue is selected. Yeah, that makes sense. So we'll have to load in the queue. Where do we have it already? Yes, we can get it here. So we're gonna get the queue, and if the queue has any length, then we're actually what we'll do. We won't do it over here. So here I will just always render the object itself. So this is the queue object that I haven't made yet. It's gonna look similar to the detail pane. So let's just copy that. Queue. Actually, it's going to be like a mix between detail and track list. Actually, it's way more like track list. Let's delete this. It's like a smaller version of a track list. So we'll take the track list, rename it to a queue. There we go. And then, oh, I see track list has an unused variable. Moving that. Good, so we have a queue, and clicking the track, everything is kind of the same. I guess what we want to do instead of this list, which is currently a use memo of the tracks, we don't want that anymore. We just want to use the queue directly. And that one is already loaded, so that's great. Okay. Yeah, that's fine. Do we want to grow? I think maybe we don't. This might be, I mean, eventually what I'm gonna probably do is allow people to drag the vertical windows, like change the horizontal size of everything. But for now, I guess we'll do, we'll just hard code it to a certain width. It doesn't matter for now. Width 56. Good, so we got a queue, and now we can say if there is no queue length, then return false. So that allows us to kind of pop in and pop out the queue over here. Now let's just load this. Does this load correctly? Yes, it does. It's fine. Okay, so if I have something in the queue, nothing shows. That's unfortunate. Let's see. Track list, detail, queue. It seems fine. It seems like it should render the queue. Let's see why it didn't do it. Need some space. Okay, that's the root. This is the horizontal grouping. And here we got these two. Yeah, and no queue. That's weird. It is loading correctly from here. It's always 0. Okay, well that's no problem because we can just add something to the queue. Okay, this is weird now because now we have a queue length. So we should not return false. And it's still returning false. Oh, this is something else, I guess. Oh no, this is fine. Oh, it has basis 0 still. Ah, yeah. Yeah, basis 0 means it starts from 0, which we don't want to do. We want to hard code it. Ah, there you go. So now we have the queue showing on the right. Of course, the plus Q button is going to go away. And hello, could you tell some of the best resources to learn Electron.js? I know React and Next.js. Well, not really. I mean, I don't actually really use any resources other than maybe in the official Electron. So first of all, it's probably important to decide how you want to build and deploy Electron. And when I was doing that research, I went to the main Electron page, right? The main resource, the main Electron, where you can download the library, basically, like download the system. And there they recommended to use Electron Forge in order to build and deploy. So the main website is a good resource, but then I also picked Electron Forge. I know there's others, but I picked Electron Forge, and when I picked that, they have a very nice way to initiate a Electron project. So that's what I did, and that's what I can recommend. And other than that, more sources than that, no, I don't know the authorities in this area and where to learn the best. I actually think that the amount of code that Electron needs is kind of small compared to the amount of code that you have to do in just pure React. One big tip, of course, is that, I mean, from what I noticed, you can't use like a normal browser router if you're using Electron. In my case, I wanted to load from Electron a local file, and then you can only use like the hash router or something like that if you want it to work. So that's what I did. But I think this app doesn't even have a router right now. We're not looking at the URL. I see my brothers in the chat referring to the SpongeBob meme. Thanks, Peter. Yes, obviously, yes. We're only adhering to the strict SpongeBob style of writing code. Okay, so we've got this queue. And now what do I want to happen? So if you click on this, it should play, but it shouldn't reset the queue. Like what I've done so far is when you double click here, it should just reset the queue. But if I add a bunch of things to the queue and I click here, I don't want that to do the same logic. I want it to change. I guess what I really want to do is, it depends a bit, guys, because this loop right now shows the queue, but remember the queue is a rotation. Like there is one of them. So if imagine I add a couple of them, this one will now have the property first true. That's how I know it's the first. And then when I go to the next song, if I do this, so now it has this one selected, which is strange, right? But that's just, I still have it selected, which is a single click. I'm going to change that. That needs to go away completely, I think, because it should highlight the one that's playing, and that's always going to be the top one. And this is, yeah, the first one now is moved to here. This is the first, so I put it at the end. Basically, I'm preparing it for looping. Hey, Horace, good to see you, man. And hello, Ashish. Subscribed yesterday. That's amazing, man. Thank you. So I guess if you're not looping, in this case, I'm not looping, so I don't want to show this one. So yeah, there's a bunch of changes I want to make. So we're gonna remove this highlight. It's not based on selected. It's just based on whether you are the first. So I'll just check index, and if the index is 0, that's silly, that means no index, then I'm going to say you're selected. So that's the only way to do it. And then I do allow the hover, that's okay. And then if you click, okay, now I think I'm going to finally show you guys the modulus logic, because so let's talk about this. Double click, is that going to do anything different? Yeah, I think double click is the only thing that works. Single click won't do anything, right? Because if you just click one time on something in your queue, I mean, maybe it can still make it selected. It won't highlight it now, but it will select it. That's fine, I guess, maybe. Let's leave that. But the play track is going to definitely be different. And I want to, so first of all, I'm going to rename it. Even though there is no naming conflict, I still want to name it something so it so I don't confuse it with the logic that I had in the track list. So the play track, on double click, I'm gonna skip to track. That's kind of a bit trash. Maybe skip to, and because track is gonna be the variable, maybe that sounds okay. Skip to. And this is important because now we're gonna, so seconds played is gonna go 0 and the queue is gonna be updated, but it won't be this. It won't just replace the entire queue. It's actually just gonna move, it's gonna select and move everything up. Sorry, so it's gonna basically, how do I do it? Shall I, okay, let's imagine this, right? We're gonna just write this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, like this. And what if I now double click on number 4, right? So I want to skip to number 4. What does that mean? That means I want to take everything that was before that, reverse it, and paste it at the end, right? I want to slice it off and put it at the end. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, how do I want to do that? It's kind of like I want to splice it, because I want to remove elements and then return those elements. So imagine I want to go from 0 to index 0. I want to delete the number that I've clicked on, -1. So if I clicked on 4, this would be 3. And this would remove the first 3 elements from this array and return them. So I can say these are the skipped songs, right? The skipped songs would be 0 till the one you clicked on. So how do I know the one that you clicked on? I think I'm going to add that to the callback. I could figure it out by looking at the queue and comparing it to the track and finding the song. Is that a problem? No, it's not a problem. By the way, this is a queue track, not a track. Maybe I'll just do that. That should be fine. That should be okay. Of course, queue has to be added to the dependency array. So let's do that. Let's say the index is the queue index of the track. And then I want to skip. I need to make a copy of the queue because I'm going to change things. So I'm going to, well, use my classic spread operator and then spread it from 0 till the index. There we go. So that's going to remove from this duplicated shallow copy of the queue, it's going to remove from 0 till the one I clicked on. Wait, that's not correct, right? Because if I click on the second one, that's index 1. No, that is correct. We're going to test this, but I believe this is fine. We might have an off by 1 error, but we'll see. I think this is okay. So now we have the amount of songs that were skipped. And then I want to add those to the queue. And also I realize now that I need to first separately say that this is the update. And then go and update splice. Because splice, if you read this, it says removes the elements from the array. And then it returns an array of the elements that were deleted. And it changes the actual memory of the queue in place. So I need to have a memory, I need to have a variable stored that keeps that copied lists in memory so I can, you know, get to it later. So now I can say update, update push. And now I guess I need to invert each of these things and push it. Or I can just push them one by one, starting from number 1. That sounds actually kind of funny. I can say while we have a skipped length. By the way, what happens if I click on the first in the index? Like if I click on index number 0, nothing should happen, right? It should replay. Let's first handle that edge case. I know I'm hopping around a little bit. I don't want to be too inconsistent, but you know, we need to get these edge cases under control. And if I can see them already, then I'll just solve them right away. So we're going to say that if we are at 0, then we're not interested in dealing with the normal situation. We want to update it like this and just say second spade goes back to 0. I think it should just keep playing, right? If not, we're going to have to add some logic there later. But for now, this is fine. I think it will keep playing. Why is update red? Oh, I called it update. I can't call it update. This would be buffer. Or payload. I think I've been calling it payload in previous parts of the code. Payload. There you go. So if the index is 0, we're just going to reset and play from the beginning, which is fine. We skip to 0, does nothing basically. And also, I think this return value is completely fine because this callback doesn't need to return anything. We don't rely on the return value. So then we can just make it a one-liner, like how I really like to do it. I made a short about this one, by the way, about my way of preferring certain flow control. I think it's one of those lessons that not enough people know about. Okay, so while we have a skipped length, you know, I feel a bit awkward about putting this while loop in one line without, but maybe I'm going to try it out. It's a bit dirty. Some people would say, what are you doing? But for me, it's kind of okay. So we're going to do payload push. So we want to push at the end what we get from the start here. I guess shift. Looks funny, right? While we have a skipped length, we're going to keep taking the first one from the skipped and pushing it at the end of the payload. That should do everything. Never seen a while loop one-liner. I don't think I've ever seen that. Looks weird, but I can get behind it. I like it. Yeah, a while loop one-liner. What has he done? Okay, so now payload is good. Payload should have moved the song you double-clicked on to the top. and pushed everything to the bottom that shouldn't be there anymore. And for now, that's okay. So we're gonna do that. And I think this is it. Yeah, that line is exciting, right? Okay, what is it beautiful or is it ugly, right? Because I think it's beautiful, guys. I mean, just because you've never seen it before doesn't mean it's bad. And it doesn't give me the feeling like this accidentally belongs to the while loop. I don't feel that. But maybe my addiction to one-liners has grown out of proportion, you know. Because my brother here is asking, like, why did I not just do spread operator to put the skipped inside the payload? Like, but the problem here is the ordering. So for instance, right, if I have the song 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, there you go. If I just take this and paste it at the end, then I get this. Whereas if I... Wait, am I retarded? Yes, I'm retarded. So my brother's right. And I'm totally wrong. Because I thought that I would invert the order, but that's not true. Nah. It's okay, because we're just going to do it much cleaner, and then we can skip that little bit of an unfortunate value that I just had. Wait a minute, can I then also, if I splice this, I don't think I can, I don't need to splice then either, right? No, I do need to still splice. Everything still stays the same, and I just have to do this. It's just normal. It doesn't mess up the order. Yeah, it is the desired result indeed. Yeah, that's correct. So this is just fine. Ooh, can I just make this into a one-liner? I guess so. No, because the payload is being changed by this thing, and I'm also using it, so I have to keep that separate. This is correct. Yeah, there we go. Good. I was a little loving towards that while loop, but no, this is way cleaner. So we're gonna do it like this. Is there any value I missed? Yes. Dependency array should also have update, and then other than that, nothing. This should be fine. Could index ever be -1, like it doesn't exist? I don't think so, because you're clicking on the track, so it should not be possible. Let's see if that works or not. Okay. Now, let's see if this code does anything. If it's here, yeah, okay. Good, it highlights always the first. I double click that one, yeah, it works fine. It works great. Okay, so now I want to do something else, because like I said, I now made it as an auto looper, like it always loops, right? It shows you as if you clicked on this. I'm wondering what to do if you actually only select this, if you do double click on this and you follow one track. Why does update need to be in dependency array, and more general, when do you put functions in dependency array? So whenever you want the latest version of that function, you need to put it in the dependency array. So the danger here is, like, how do I know that update is not updated itself? I do believe actually that this use store never changes the update function. I do think so. Like if I go to this hook, you can see this update is like this is created once. Update, and it's just a straight up function. I don't think this executes again. So I do think that update itself is never updated currently, but theoretically you could update it. Like just as I can update the track, I could update the update function. Right now I'm not doing that, right? And I would probably say that if someone is updating the update or the set function, that's probably an anti-pattern. That's not very clean to do that, right? But you could do it. So, and my code now is ready for that, because I just put in the dependency array whatever I need to use inside of it. So if I use update, then I want the update function to come from the latest rendering cycle where the update has changed, right? So I just want the most recent update function and also the most recent queue. So it's just kind of the same as any other object in that sense. No problem. Hope it helps. But it is interesting because, yeah, like I said, update I don't think ever changes. So it's a bit excessive to put it everywhere. And here, for instance, I forgot it and we never noticed it, right? So yeah, maybe I should just relax and just make a hidden rule which says never update the update function. And then I don't have to write it in every single place. That could be maybe nice. Or I could do it the other way around and say, look, we're going to just treat it like any other object and just put it in there if you use it and don't worry about it anymore. It's also not a bad choice, I think. But look, I've really forgot it everywhere. Like there's so many places where I didn't do it. Ugh, it's a little dirty. Do I need append queue? I don't think so. When you're within the queue itself, you can never append things to the queue from inside of it. I don't think so. So we're going to delete this. And we're going to also take a look here at where that happens. That's that green button of add to queue. We're not going to have that in this screen. What do you think about the upcoming changes to React, which will get rid of memo, callback, etc.? I did not even know about that. So that's completely new to me. I'm going to what do you mean get rid of? You mean it's not even backwards compatible, or do you think it's not needed anymore to use them? If it's not backwards compatible, then I think they're doing the Angular 1 mistake of destroying my software. Because the amount of used memos and used callbacks I have everywhere is excessive. I mean, you really need them for performance improvements right now to make sure you don't re-render every cycle. I mean, when I put that console log here before, you saw constantly that it was re-rendering, right? But everything that was in a use memo and a use callback doesn't get re-rendered unless one of the things in the dependency array changed. Okay, so moving on. Yeah, maybe tell us about it, by the way, Peter, and I can tell everyone what you're writing for those who don't see the chat. I should maybe put the chat in my screen. I was thinking about doing that. React compiler. Okay, let's open this up and see what's happening. Under construction, thank God. All right, more documentation available at React compiler working group, and upstream these docs will be more stable. But yeah, we can assume if they put it on their main page, learn, then it's, even though it's experimental, I'm thinking this is probably not that experimental, that it's really not going to make it. React compiler is a new experimental compiler. Okay, that's interesting because so far I've been using, right now Vita compiles my code, right? GSX Vita, and before that was Webpack. So React compiler is like a different thing. So that's really interesting. Okay. React compiler automatically memoizes your code. So yeah, it does use memo and use callback, but it uses it automates the process. So that's really interesting. And that's going to really simplify the work for many people. While powerful, it's easy to forget to apply memoization or to apply them incorrectly. Yeah, I know. I mean, even I just messed it up by not putting my update function in there, right? Which theoretically it should be done. And then, yeah, it can lead to inefficient updates, or it could lead to really breaking because you're using older values where you don't expect to use an older value. So this is very exciting. I'm very happy with this. And I'm assuming also that the compiler is still fine with if you do use memo. Yeah, that makes sense. All of this makes so much sense. Like this, the compiler is totally fine. Should I try out the compiler? Many rough edges. It has been used in production by Meta. Wow. That, I mean, I wouldn't call it experimental at that point. That's solid. If Meta itself has used it in production, I mean, guys, this company's not going to build any software that's going to crash on you, you know, or at least probably not. That's great. That's great. I'm gonna definitely get into this. maybe not today, but this is great. But yeah, how do you even, because the React compiler is just a JavaScript compiler. I'm assuming you can't just add other things to it. Like I want to use it together with Vita. Oh, and they use a Babel plugin. Oh, there you go. If you use Vita, you can do it like this. Thank you. Okay, that's good. Yeah, they really explained it for all the major players. Okay, and they have everything. Babel, Vita, Next.js, Remix, Webpack, Expo, Metro, RSpec. Wonderful, wonderful. Thanks for the link, Peter. That's really cool, and that's gonna really change my code. And I'm gonna have to update the code, which I gladly do because this use memo use callback is, I'll do it. It's fine. But yeah, I mean, imagine a world where I can just do this, and the computer automatically understands not to redefine this function a billion times every fucking second. That's gonna be really good. So that's definitely a massive quality of life update for React developers. How can I give this a heart? No, I don't know. Okay, so good. Let's go back to the app. Where are we? I can queue, I can skip. Oh yeah, now if you're not looping, I want to hide every value that comes after first. So that's interesting. What does that mean? That means that I will need to know the index of first. So let's get that. And again, we're gonna have to use a memo. Now every time I'm gonna have to use those hooks, I'm gonna think like, God, this is gonna go away. So this is the index of first. Bit of a shitty name, but I do want to make it very explicit. And first index doesn't sound normal because then that sounds like it should be 0 always, right? Okay, so index of first, we're just gonna look at the queue and then return the index queue.find index of a place where the track is first. There, turn it into a boolean. It can sometimes be undefined, so I just want it true or false. And then find index. So now as soon as the first is true, it'll return the index of that thing. So that's great. That's exactly what this should be. So now we know the index of the first. So, and now it's interesting. So let's think about it. If index first is 0, that means that the very first song here, a first track, is also the first one in this original playlist that I clicked on. So we can just show everything as is, right? So nothing really changes. But now, and we're gonna have to write our logic here. So let me already do that. Let me just say, there we go. Return that. And by the way, yeah, guys, in case you didn't know, so my brother is also a React developer. That's and he works a lot with native apps, phones and such. So yeah, we are really kind of doing the almost exact same work every day, staring at this exact same kind of computer. And we're also part of a triplet. So we are very, very duplicated over here. So, and we both live in Dubai. So yeah, I don't know what's going on, Peter. I think you gotta move, man. Like, one of us gotta do a different thing in life at this point. Okay, so now, and we both come from the Netherlands, so yeah. But then again, he went to Dubai first and I went after, so that's, I guess I gotta go. Index of first. So if the index of first is 0, then we want to ignore everything and just keep going. So index of first has to exist. So we'll just say, because then it's not 0, right? If you say in JavaScript just existing, then that's also gonna not count zeros. So that's great. Index of first has to be not 0. And then we check if the index is higher or equal to the index of first. In that case, we return false. Oh, and I also, did I add a key? Yeah, I already added a key, so that's fine. Let me put that key on top because I like it there. Okay, so this should now, and of course, let's check if this works. So I'm going to add some stuff to the queue. Whoa, whoa, whoa. 2 children with the same key. Oh, because you can click on the same thing multiple times. Yeah, that breaks. But no worries, we're just going to use the index as the key, and then we're going to also do that in the track list, just in case. I don't want to create potential issues with indexing. So let's just do it like that. Okay. All right, so now 1, 2, 3. And I can even add the same one multiple times now without issue. And if I click on this, see now it's hiding. It's acting like it's not looping. In reality, this is a looped array and there's a bunch of values underneath here. But right now we're not showing those. So, oh, but if I add things to the queue now, they get added in the wrong place. And that's interesting. So this is not the issue with the code I just wrote. This is the issue with the append queue I wrote earlier. Because it's actually not supposed to just append. But that could be confusing. Depends on the looping. Okay, so you'll know what I'm talking about real soon. Because first what I'm going to do is I'm going to finish this logic before I dash off to do something else. I need repeating. Repeat. This song slaps. Repeat. This is all like royalty-free stuff, so I don't have to get removed from YouTube for accidentally playing a song that's not allowed. Okay, so now if the repeat equals none, and there is an index, and the index is higher, the current index that we're going over is higher than the index of the first, then we will return false. So now I think I can explain what I mean. So imagine I have this stuff over here. Can you please explain what are use memo and use callback hooks with examples of how you're using it in the code? Yeah, so I will go into that real soon, but first I'll finish this feature. But it's right, I mean, it is one of the more complicated parts of React, but like you just heard, they're going away, brother. So don't worry about it. Like in the future, it's not going to be there anymore. Okay, so first of all, let's go over this thing. So I have this queue now, and I don't have repeat on. So if I click in the middle here, now it's showing me this. But if I click here, you can see that actually the other songs that were at the top were moved to the bottom. But now they're hidden by that other code when I'm not looping. That was the big benefit there. Okay. So, and in fact, you could even argue that, no, never mind. This is good. This is good. This is fine. But now the logic of the append to queue changes. Right? Yes. If you add something to the queue, let's go to this track list. Because here we have the append queue function. It was only looking at the queue in the update, and now, so just a second to explain to Siddhant. Siddhant, this function append queue, I want to use a new value here because I want to change the logic depending on if I know the repeat. So I'm going to add this value. I'm going to load it from memory, repeat. And repeat lets me know the state of the repeat button, right? If somebody has clicked on that little loop repeat thing. So I need to know that because I'm going to change the logic of the append queue. Because currently append queue always puts it straight up at the end, right? That's it. That's all it does. But I don't want to do that in the case of when you are not repeating. When you are repeating, this is correct. So, and that means the repeat is not none. Then I want to do it like this. But now this is the thing. So to Siddhant, if I were to write this function like this, there you go, like this. So that's without a use callback, right? Very simple, which will be the future, right? Because React will do this automatically, but currently it doesn't. But okay, if you do it like this, then this function will change every cycle. Let's think about it like 10 times per second. This function will be recreated and again reattached to wherever you attach it here. So it takes a lot of processing power, right? Every time someone hovers over an element, boom, it again recreates. constantly, because this function, this tracklist function, executes all the time, right? So that's how, and you have to think about that. If you're writing somewhere in between here, you should think about this as a very dangerous area to write stuff. But suddenly within the use callback or use memo or even the use effects, there it's safe. It's safe to write within here, because here it only updates if one of these values changes in this array, right? So to go back to this append, so we don't want to write it like this. This is scary because now we have no hook around it, and it's not good for the performance of your computer. Like, it's actually really bad. That's also why React is going to automate it, because they were like, Jesus, programmers suck at this, right? And I mean, they're right. But it's also complicated. But if I do use callback around it, now this is a safe function, and this will not update. And that's very important, because imagine that you write some other use effect, right? Imagine I'm going to go write a use effect over here, and I want to use the latest version of this callback in there. So I want to execute this by default, right? This is just going to be an example for you. Append queue, and it needs two things. Okay, I mean, I just wanted to stop crying, but I'm just gonna, give it some random values. So imagine I want to execute this like right away, but I just want to execute this at the start of the app, right? Well, when I put append queue here, if I don't put a use callback around this, and I just do it like this, then this use effect will also fire 100 times per second, right? All the time. It'll just trigger, and that's going to completely destroy your app, right? Depending on what you're doing in this use effect. So the use callbacks, the functions that you define have to have use callbacks, so that, because you can imagine that these two values will change this handler. And so if this one changes, that means that you can basically add these two as well. I mean, not really, but you could do that in order to show that obviously if one of these changes, then this will also have changed, and then this will have changed, and so this will execute, right? So you can think of it as like a tower, right? You're building on certain base blocks, and if one of the things you rely on, one of the things you're building on, relies on other things, then those basically get inherited, and those get added to sorry, my phone is going off. There, those get added to the tower, so to speak, because you're relying on them. You're putting weight on it, right? Like you need them. So that's why everything currently needs a use callback or a use memo. Always needs a dependency array, and if you then use append queue, you borrow from this dependency array, and that gets added, because you need these two to rely on as well to get an append queue. Okay, I'm not sure if that was very clear. I don't think that was clear and short enough to make a short out of it, so at some point I'm gonna have to make it more clear and say it better. But then again, maybe I'll do a little segment specifically about this React compiler once we've put it in, because I'm so excited about this. I'm definitely, maybe we should even do it this stream, right? Maybe we should just put this React compiler in Vita this stream and remove all our use memos and be part of the future, right? Because come on, like this code base I'm building right now is supposed to represent the latest and greatest way to build apps. So oh, no worries, Setant. I hope I'm going to try to be more clear in the future, but yeah, at least it's a start to get used to things. Okay, so we were at the track list and we were looking at this append queue. Currently, I say if the repeat is not none, meaning we are repeating, right, either a single track or the entire queue, then it won't do anything. And actually, to show you this, or I guess it's better to show, it's like I'm clicking on this button, it doesn't do anything, right? And this is like a single, this is just the detail. But this doesn't, until I put on repeating. Oh, but I can't. I can. There you go. If I now click, still doesn't work. Why not? Because repeat is not yet part of this dependency array. So this is a great example of the opposite problem. What if you do use a use callback or a use memo or a use effect, but you don't put it in the dependency array? Well, then if someone changes the value, like I just did by clicking on here, it doesn't do anything, right? I don't read that value, so this will stay none forever. Or sorry, it will stay looped forever or none forever. It doesn't matter. It depends on what the initial value was when this component got loaded in. Hey, we got a new user in the chat, knowledge. Welcome. So I guess this chat has knowledge now, but we have to do something else now because this queue, I don't want it to update. So this is the value I'm updating, by the way. And let's make that clear. Let's say payload equals, and then repeat doesn't equals none. Then it's this, and else it's something else. I think I'm going to do it something like this. So I can just not put the if statement around there. Is that nice? Maybe it's not nice. Actually, that's kind of disgusting. It's too long. It's not clean. No, it's not clean. Okay, we're gonna revert. Oops, my bad. We're gonna do it like this. We're gonna say if we're not none, then we're like this, and then I don't think, again, this append queue, I'm not using the return value. See, I'm just not using that. I mean, I'm returning it here, but it's not, I'm not doing anything useful with it. And in that case, I can just put the return value in front of it. I can even hover here and see that there's a void coming back from this update function, right? So that means it does nothing. There's nothing here. So this is the same as just returning nothing like this, right? So it's completely fine to do this because I'm using something that's called side effect. So, and I'm not sure if people are familiar with this, but in functional programming, you care a lot about the return value of your function, right? So if I say, let's take the classic example of map, right? 1, 2, 3, and I map over this. So this is value n. And I say, return to me all the values with 1 extra, right? So it returns 2, 3, 4. Now, if I hover over this, you can see, okay, this looks intimidating, but really it's not that intimidating. Just slowly look at it. Oh, wait. Slowly look at it. Okay, so it's an array that has this function, right? And you give it a callback function with a bunch of arguments. Okay, ignore all of this, right? Ignore all of this. Don't look at any of that. And just look at after this colon, number array. So now you see that JavaScript, or TypeScript in this case, has identified that this map function returns an array of numbers, this current one, right? Because I gave it an array of numbers, it understands that it will always return, and I added one number to it, so I didn't turn anything into a string, I didn't do any weird stuff, I just had some numbers, added a number to it. So TypeScript has said, oh, you know what? I can see that you are returning an array of numbers right there. It's right there at the end. That's the most important value that you want to see. All this shit is like, okay, fuck you. Like how to use this function, nobody gives a shit, right? Okay, we'll figure that out. But this value is important because now if I do dot, now what is this thing? What is this dot attached to, right? If I say const xxx is this, the question is, what is this value? What is this thing? And if I hover over it, I can see it's a number array because that was equal to what this function returned. Right? Now, to some programmers who are looking at this are like, look, why are you going in on this and saying the same thing over and over again? Well, it's kind of critical because this is the example of using the return value. But what if I did something else? What if I said something stupid like this? Let's m equals 5, whatever. And then inside of this function, I'm going to make it more complicated. I'm still going to say, oh, just return n plus 1. But now I'm also going to say m is plus equals 5. So we're going to add the number 5 every time we go over one of these. So 3 times. So we're going to add 15. So at the end, this should be 19. So now we have 2 values. We have the x and we have m. Let's also, you know, to be in good spirits, let's make it like a really long one as well. Oh, let's make it very long there. So we have x and we have n. And now these values, can I even show these values? This is executing when you append to the queue. Okay, cool. So now you see two values. We have the array 2, 3, 4, and we have the number 19. Both of these values, you know, have been defined in a totally different way. This has been defined in the object-oriented way. So I represent object-oriented programming. OOP. There. And this is I represent functional programming. There we go. Man, this is some hardcore knowledge. But yeah, I mean, look, I'm maybe going a bit over the top with this explanation, but it is very critical to understand when you're writing code. So we have the functional programming doing 2, 3, 4. We have the object-oriented programming saying right now 19, right? And I, of course, can, by the way, do the same thing. I can say 1, 2, 3, and then every time we loop over it, this is very annoying to do, but I can do it. I can say, take the index where you are now, and then plus equals 1. So now we even have the exact same value. So I click on this, 2, 3, 4, 2, 3, 4. These are the same things, and they're kind of almost made in the same way, but they're very different, right? Because this functional way always looks at this return value. It's the most important thing. Because and you can chain them. So I can actually say dot here, right? And continue changing things. Slice it, splice it. And sometimes you can even do things that change it completely, right? So you can say pop it. And if you pop it, the return value is no longer the array that you gave it, right? Or even an array that you changed inside of it. No, it is the value that is at the end. It removes the last event and returns it. So that word return is so critical in functional programming. When you see the word return in programming, it has a really important meaning. It's really a totally different thing because we're talking about chaining. We're talking about values that get passed between objects that own that object for as long as it's part of their chain, and then they pass it to the next one in the chain. So that's functional programming. And anything that doesn't adhere to those rules of getting something because they are attached to it, yeah, you see this value, this array, the functional programs are attached to it. So then this is like the this object, and that's what they change. And then that rule of using either the one you're attached to and then returning a value, if that gets broken, like it is in this case, where I kind of randomly in this loop from the outside scope, outside of this function, I grab this other object and I start doing stuff with it, that's called a side effect, right? So this function now has a side effect of changing this thing, and it's, I guess you can call it main effect, is creating this object, this functional program object. So, and because I really love functional programming, I do think this is dirty and this is clean. By the way, I'm a very dirty programmer at the same time, so it's not like I don't write object-oriented code. But object orientation values less the return values and the is more working through through side effects. And that's why you will almost never, I guess never, I think we could honestly say you will never see me write a for loop. Okay, wait, there is a for loop I copy pasted yesterday from Gemini, so I guess that's the exception. And that's actually doing an important thing. It's actually randomizing the tracks when you click on shuffle. But all right, normally speaking, I will not write for loops because they are explicitly using side effects. Like they are exactly like this, right? They do it like that, like they loop over something, and then during the loop, they change something that was defined outside of themselves, right? Okay. And yeah, I think, again, a lot of detail. Again, too long for a short. Shit, I gotta limit myself to 60 seconds, guys. Like, I've been having trouble in my video editor all day, like trying to shove like a concept into Like I could barely fit the explanation of Google Cloud Run in there. I feel like it missed so much because I just 60 seconds limit. What is that? The TikTok generation doesn't allow me to talk. Shit. All right. But okay. I'm an old man yelling at the clouds already at the fresh age of 31. All right, so now we're gonna go and change the way this update works, because when we are looping, let's show this. When we are looping, oh, I need to just save this and undo all the damage I've done here. Oh yeah, now this doesn't work, of course. So let me just quickly comment this out for now so we can show it. There we go. So when I've added a bunch of things, and when we are looping, I do want this stuff, because if I go next, and I click on Q, I'm fine that it's here. I'm fine that it got added at the bottom. That's great. That's fine. It feels logical to me. But if I turn this off, there you go, and I go to the next, now it disappears, right? So if I now add it to the queue, it's still gone because the index, it got added to the end. And that was a part that was hidden. So actually where I need to put this, if we're not looping, is right before the index. That's where I need to put it. So it's a slightly different place. So how do we do that? It's another splice, I guess. So let's again write that logic and say, if we are not repeating, we just do it that way, then we're done. Else we're going to make a new copy of the queue, so that again will probably be like payload. And then, oh, this is not too hard because I can splice it in. A splice, you can use splice to delete things, but you can also use it to add stuff. If necessary, inserts new elements in their place, returning the deleted elements. Okay, so we're not going to use the return value because we're not going to delete anything. So we're going to take this payload, then the number we need to delete, 0. And then I think after that you can write the values you want to add, which in this case will be the thing you clicked on. And I'll use the spread operator again to do that, which is like that. Why is it unhappy about payload? Oh, yeah, sorry, I just need to say the number. Oh, yeah, and this is the number that I'm interested in, which is the first index. First index of first. Wait, don't I have that one here? Didn't I create it? Do I only have it here? Yeah, index of first. I only have it here. So let me copy that over to here. There. And this is interesting because here I'm in the queue, so I can call it the index of first, but this is the queue index of first. Oh no, that name is too long. I'm not a Java programmer. We're not going to go beyond 3 words. There we go. Index of first in the queue. That's kind of implied now. Add it to the dependency array, right? Remember, when you use it inside, always add it here. There are, by the way, some exceptions, but we're not going to talk about that now. Actually, wait a minute. I just realized if React creates a compiler for this to do it automatically, right? Which my brother just mentioned in the chat, and we just looked at before, then you can't choose as a programmer anymore whether you want to do that, because there have been cases where I wrote a use effect, for instance, where I wanted to get the original value that it first had, and now you can't do that anymore. So it is a bit painful. Like updating to the new version, I have to admit that is very rarely used. So I don't think it's going to stop the meta team from rolling this out, but. And I guess if you want that, you're going to have to manually keep some kind of ref. That's frustrating though. But yeah, I guess it's worth the benefit of no longer having to write these use callbacks. Okay. I was a little concerned there for a moment. But then again, the guys at React, the developers at React, obviously have thought about this endlessly. So who am I, some random dude, concerned about something? I probably have nothing to be concerned about. Okay. Payload splice, index of first, don't delete anything. No, exactly, Peter. They won't deprecate the original hooks, and that way maybe you can still use them. And if you use, but that's also difficult because how does React then realize that that hook is being used? So it should not auto hook it. But that's kind of cool. Like it should be fine. It's writing compilers is like a whole different kind of level of programming, I feel, and one that I am not really into, to be honest. I'm really more on just building apps, the top level of programming. Because if you think about it, if you're building a compiler, you're building code for other programmers. And I have to say, guys, the worst people to make any software for is other programmers. Like, those people are so annoying. Like, they demand everything. They never pay, you know? Like, programmers are horrible people to write code for. Okay. And also, they're going to assume, of course, that you took all your code from someone else. So, you don't get the credit either, which is kind of makes sense, right? Whereas businesses, they go like, oh, wow, you invented React yourself. You're amazing. Okay. Payload splice, index of first. We don't delete anything, and we do add a new track. And we do actually need this same logic here where we need to know whether we are the first in the queue right now. Did I copy it wrong? Yeah, there. This should be fine. Payload queue length. Yeah, this is all good. Although the index could be -1. Yeah. In fact, I'm curious because then it's not the find index on nothing should return -1. So maybe instead of saying this, okay, sorry, I'm gonna just do something to make things clear or to keep it a little clear. If I'm appending to the queue and I know already that there is no that the value of index first is -1, I might as well just execute this normal one and then not deal with that situation over here. So I'm gonna say if the repeat is none or index of first equals -1. And yeah, this triple equal sign. I mean, I hope I don't have to explain to everyone, but I'll do it just for the newbies here. This is to not like double is to say this value is equal to that value, but ignoring the type. So theoretically, this equals this. But if I want to go further and equal the type, right, this is false. And it only equals this, right? So, but again, in JavaScript nowadays, in most editors, they don't allow double even, like because you always want to compare the types, kind of, if you write it explicitly like that. Okay, so that's why I wrote the triple here, equals -1. Okay, so I think I've now dealt with the situation where index of first is something else. And that means there isn't, if it's not -1, that means there is an index that is first. So that means I can always add a track and it doesn't have to have first as a value. So that's all good. We fixed the thing and now we can update and give the queue, which is going to be the payload, and we're done. Okay, let's see if this works. A lot of code. Do we get something for it? 4 things here. I keep adding things to the queue, that works fine. I'm gonna go to here and I can see it disappears. And if I now add tangerine, there it is. It is there. And if I actually show what it really looked like, you can see that, these values were hidden. These were, and it was shoved before. And I have this on and I click on the queue, then it goes to the end. So now everything feels logical. From a user perspective, it feels like kind of not remarkable. But from a programming perspective, you realize like, oh, it's actually super annoying because there's a big difference between looping through a list and going through it once and ending, right? And so the append function really had to become kind of complicated to get that achieved. But now it's done, so we're good. All right, yeah, and I noticed this with this app a lot, by the way. I mean, yesterday, a whole day on practically shoving some stuff to a server and adding a shuffle and repeat button. Like that is, a good 4 hours or something. And that's kind of slow for me. But I realized that the amount of code I had to write, I mean, if you look at what was written yesterday, I think this whole use player is new, right? And this endless amount of use callbacks and I don't think I wrote this inefficiently. Really, I think I added the functions I really needed. I added the memos I really relied on. But it's yeah, it's just complicated. Look at that massive list of return values from this hook. It's really cool. Okay, so we got the queue updated. We got the track list. Is there still a math random in here? Yeah, okay. Yeah, but this is the shuffle method. Yeah. So this is called something, an algorithm like Yates shuffle or something. And I copied it from an LLM. Yeah, my bad. But I don't think that's bad. I mean, it is an optimized algorithm, and it's swapping out parts of an array so that it just shuffles your stuff correctly. And also, what I did to this shuffle function to make it even better is like I never shuffle it in a way where the song that you're playing is changing in position. Like I get it out, shuffle the rest, and then put it back. Or when you leave the song at the end, when you go to your whole playlist and you go back to the start, and you play that song, and at the end it takes it out, shuffles everything, and then shuffles it at the end. So the song you just played never comes immediately again. That's kind of critical. Even though theoretically, if you really wanted the randomness, then you should also allow, immediately playing the song you just played, right? But no, that's not how it works. It randomly shuffles it, and so it can never be repeated more than once the entire playlist. So it's a different kind of thinking about random. It is still kind of random, but it's random in what way, right? That's a good question. Okay, so we have this queue. The append function works. It is rotating. I'm showing the queue. I'm allowing people to change. What more can I do? And then we're done. Yeah, I mean, this is good, guys. I think we're in a happy place. Maybe it's time to start doing playlists. Oh, or I can try to do React compiler. I guess it's time for the React compiler. That is pretty exciting, and I didn't know about it when I started the stream today, so that's nice. I actually am looking forward to that. So let's see, how easy is it? I'm using Vita, so if you're using Vita, you can add the plugin like this. Boom. Do I need to give any configuration? Oh, and it's Babel, so it's already... do I have React? I think I have this React thing. It is somewhere. No, it must be somewhere. Like it's in the Vita thing here. I think I'm using another version though. Let me check. It's in the renderer here. How can I not see React here? I was pretty sure it was going to be part of this. I don't have the React. I just have hot start. That is odd. Expose render name, hot restart, hot restart. I don't have it. That is strange. How am I compiling JSX if I don't have the configuration in my Vita config? That's weird. Yeah, let's check. I mean, I can just do it. I mean, it is here. We're just gonna do it and see what happens. Why not? It's in plugins, yeah, and then here. So from this plugin expose renderer, I guess we're gonna keep that and then add React to it. But yeah, React needs to be included. Does it already? No, it doesn't know where to get it from. So I need to check the Vita React. And I guess we have React TypeScript. What's this gonna give me? That's online. No, I don't want online. Yeah, that's scaffolding. Hey, thank you, Faithful. So we're gonna go and find the React thing. You know what? I'm starting to feel a little Gemini itch. Let's just use Gemini here. Fortunately, I only pay once for it on my personal account, and therefore I'm gonna just move it off screen while I use it. Sorry if that's fake for anyone. I'll do explicitly tell you guys I'm using an LLM right now. Okay, so I'm not hiding behind that fact. There's nothing to be ashamed of. We all need to test it out as much as possible because that's going to be the future of our work. I have another short out where I say basically that I expect the work as a programmer to become basically an LLM talker. Like you are someone who talks to LLMs. Like that's your job. So that I think that's going to be part of our or most of our day in the future. I mean, it already might be for some of you guys. So let's see how. Right, I'm going to tell the LLM write a define plugin function call that uses the React plugin for Vita. Absolutely, here it is. Yeah, okay, so it's very straightforward. It's just the default Vita.js plugin React. I'm just thinking, I remember that there is another version of this one, something that the LLM did not tell me, which is based on Rust, and I like that one more. So, does it say about the Rust or SWC? No. SWC? There it is. That one I like more because it speeds up your dev server using SWC, Rust-based platform for the web, which is new and 20 times faster than Babel. But again, does that mean can I even use Babel then? Like, because in the original, when I was looking at this thing, React compiler, they say React and then Babel. So it's a Babel plugin of the React, and that makes me very worried. Like, I think I can't use my new 20 times faster thing. I guess I won't even try because, you know, we already kind of know what's going to happen. It's not going to work. And 20 times slower, okay, but, you know, I'm fast enough. My computer is a beast, so it's okay. And this only deals with compilation time, guys. So it's not going to slow down the actual app, right? This is only compilation time. So it's not something to really worry about that much. Okay, npmi, we're gonna add the plugin to the client, and I guess this is only something we need for development. So save dev. Okay. Now we exist. So that's great. This config started, I think, just empty. So yeah, there we go. Babel plugin React compiler. I'm really curious if this is all it takes. That would be very easy then. I'm doubting it. Oof. All right, we start with a nice error. Inside a forge, specifier in the React package. Let's just keep reading the docs on how to get this compiler in there, because I'm assuming this is just the plugin for the React compiler. I'm assuming I might also have to install the React compiler itself. It should run before other Babel plugins as it requires the input. Do I have other Babel plugins? I mean, this expose to renderer doesn't seem like it should have that, but I'll just put it to the end anyway, just to be sure. I think this is all we need to do, right? Babel plugin, React compiler, Babel plugin, yeah. Just add that one and we're good. Save dev. But it's still called plugin, so I'm thinking maybe it still requires something else. Let's see. Compiler runtime. Yeah, it's still not happy. Compiler. I guess I have to just slowly read it, way more slowly. Getting started. Prior to installing the compiler, you can check to see if your codebase is compatible. Now it's going to say like it isn't. I do wish I could remove all those use memos and use callbacks. Okay, no usage of incompatible libraries and successfully 3 out of 6 components. Strict mode usage not found. Oh, do I need to use strict mode? That's fine for me. I don't mind strict mode. Strict mode has something weird where it executes everything twice when you start up just to kind of fool you and test if your use effects have nice cleanups. But I don't mind that too much. Like that's fine. I should have written all my use effects pretty cleanly so it shouldn't break anything. So where do I do it? It's here, right? And I think here you have to put strict mode around it. There. It's kind of weird that I forgot it, to be honest. It should have been there. Okay, so that's a good start. And now I guess if I run this again, are you still going to complain? Yeah, it's happy. Everything is great. Compiled 3 already. Strict usage found. No, okay, great. We're all green, so I guess we're ready to go. Check how many components can be selected. The higher the better. Okay, that's good, I guess. Check for the strict mode usage. Having this enabled follow means higher chance that the rules are allowed. Yeah, okay. Check for the incompatible. Okay, that's all good. We're happy. Installing ESLint plugin. I'll just do what it says, guys. Just do what it says. I'm a dumb developer. I do whatever they tell me. I guess I have to also add this to the plugin. Yeah, of course. That's going to be nice because it's going to tell me, you know, if I'm messing up with this new library. So it's probably very useful to have this esconfig, eslint config, add it to the end. Wait. Oops, I think I put it in the wrong place. Plugins. Yeah, I don't have any plugins. That's weird. Put it in. And then rules, throw an error for that. An error, like not even a warning. It's just straight up like, what are you doing? Break. Okay. It will display any violations. Violations. The law is coming from me. All right. Rolling out a compiler to your code base. Yes. The compiler is designed to compile functional components and hooks that follow the rules of React. It can also handle code that breaks those rules by bailing out those components. However, due to the flexible nature of JavaScript, the compiler cannot catch every possible violation and may compile with false negatives. That is, the compiler may accidentally compile a component that breaks the rules of React, which can lead to undefined behavior. For this reason, to adopt the compiler successfully, we recommend turning on a small directory in your code first. No, we're going to apply it to everything. Shit, we're going all in. In rare cases, you might also configure the compiler to run opt-in to make it so the compiler will only compile components hooks annotated with the use memo directive. We're not going to be cowards over here, guys. We're going to compile everything completely from the start, break my shit. Yeah, but then it just tells me that again, and guys, I don't think this runs. It's so painful, right? Like, I'm so close. Missing compiler runtime. This feels like such a core error, you know? Like, all right, we're gonna beg Gemini again. This error when using the new React compiler. Oh, well, it says something very straightforward, which is I'm missing the dependency, but I don't know, I find that strange because the docs didn't even mention that, right? So But then again, it makes sense if this is missing and it needs to be installed. So, but I followed the docs from the top and it never told me. So maybe I'm just on the wrong page. No, same error as well. So let's actually, instead of asking a dumb LLM that makes it seem like it understands, maybe we can just check out what they're saying on GitHub. You're using the compiler with React 18, which is not supported. Oh no, which version of React am I using? Yeah. Am I just not on the late? Oh god. Okay, well, that's great. I think you had to do 19. Right? So I need React. I need React DOM. These are the types. There we go. Here. Do I have to like, is it not the stable release? I already thought I have installed. Let's see if I just do this fresh, right? So install React. Does that get me version 18 or 19? That's going 18. Why? Why? You have 19. Why are you giving me 18? It's like beta or something, so they don't like to do it. Oh, yeah. React 19 was released April 2024. That is very recent. Yeah. Let's go to the upgrade guide. The talks of the compiler mention. No. They're mentioning 19. No, I think maybe yes, but the Vita plugin doesn't. So that's why I do need to go to 19, which is fine. Because again, if we're gonna get any errors, like they recommend upgrading to React 18.3 first so that you can identify the issues. I don't give a shit. I want to go to 19, break my stuff, right? Like I'm ready. I'm ready for the future. So let's do it. And I think you need to do yeah, this is it. React RC is release candidate, right? So we're saying like, give me the latest stuff. Don't give me bullshit. Right? Oh, warning, warning. Exactly, Peter. I want React 19 right now. But yeah, this is gonna break. I mean, these are just warnings. Maybe they're like, hey, we don't really care. Oh shit, am I still pulling at Spotify in this app? I'm gonna get sued, guys. Jesus. Music app. Product name, Spotify. Okay. Okay, yeah, I'm pretty happy with this. But the types, I wonder, are the types going to be installed by default for once, like once in our lifetime? npm run or npm start, right? Let's just start, I think. Okay. Hey guys, latest React with that compiler. It seems to work. That was quite painless, actually. Actually, in fact, I can't really believe that it works. That's how it is. Wait, I don't even have React DOM right now. Oh no, the types are just missing, right? Yeah, the types are missing. Yeah, and do I also need to do add RC then here? Or are we going to assume that the types are kind of unchanged, which I don't think we can comfortably rely on? So we did add RC at the end to install the React types. Let me again ask Gemini. I want to install the release candidate. I want to install the types of the release candidate version of React DOM and React. What commands should I execute? Yeah, that's great. I do think this is correct. Like, it tells me to do this, which sounds correct. I wonder if there is even an RC branch. No, they're not. They don't exist. Again, I would have done the same because it is kind of logical, right? We did the same thing for React, but it doesn't exist. So let's actually have a look at React DOM and see if we can find it manually. I know I haven't been writing code and just kind of doing some stuff with NPM, but it's important, and I do want to move forward to this kind of new way of testing out this compiler, so we'll spend the time. I want to understand, it was published 2 months ago, the latest version, and it is on 18. I don't think this one will have an RC candidate, guys. No, it doesn't. So it's fine. We're just gonna install the normal versions and just hope that everything is okay. Let me do it as well with types React. Double check the versions of that one. Also 2 months ago, also 18. I don't think we have much luck here, guys. No, they're slow. They're slow. But then again, types might not have changed. Maybe, you know, this should be React DOM and this should be React and yeah, save dev. Yeah, that's good. Okay. Oh, what's this? Oh, now it really is unhappy. Could not resolve. Oh, then I must have typed something wrong. Doesn't look wrong. Found React 19. Yeah, okay. So maybe I need to like manually add a resolution. What the fuck is TypeScript? Comes into the chat, says, what the fuck is TypeScript? Okay, brother, there's a whole world coming out here for you. JavaScript has received types. Microsoft started this process 2012, I believe, and it is basically JavaScript, but it has types. So, and that's just a tool to warn you while you're developing, right? So you can give types to things, you can read it, your editor will inform you. You have, you can go to an object, hover over it, or click dot, and you can see the function names, like all the methods attached to it and properties. So it's basically giving you all the benefits that typed languages have had so far, but it's also keeping the raw JavaScript, because it is still really good JavaScript. Like, it's basically, with the right settings, any JavaScript file is also a valid TypeScript file, right? Except that nowadays people kind of force you to write better types than, because in JavaScript obviously there are no types. And actually JavaScript tried to solve this problem before. They added something called float type, which is what you write JavaScript and then you write in comments, like above every function, you write some nonsense about the typings, like it's super shit, like, and that's float type. But TypeScript is basically the better version of that, and it is really its own language, but it is in essence uses a JavaScript compiler to run, so it is still JavaScript. And it is really the future, and has been the future for a long time. In fact, by now it's like the past. 2012, man. Like, we're 12 years later. So Vishal Kumar, you're about like a decade late with asking what is TypeScript. Unless you also didn't know what JavaScript meant, but in that case, man, you were like 40 years behind. So be it. I don't know how old you are, man. But this React DOM, this is interesting because I have an issue that it doesn't resolve properly. It tells me to worry about this npm install. So I think there is this thing where I can do, where I say resolutions, where I just say, look, man, React is going to be this version, and you're going to stop complaining. think that's kind of the way to force other libraries to just shut up about it. I think. I hope. I'm not sure. It's always a bit confusing. No, it's still giving me conflicting peer dependencies. Oh, that's annoying. And it's like for font awesome. Like, come on, guys, the font file. That's the last thing that should be making a complaint. Oh, is resolutions a yarn thing? Oh, what is it in npm then, Peter? I forgot. I actually normally use yarn, so it's kind of makes sense that I made this mistake then. But I have conflicting versions of React. JSON. Okay, we're gonna have to change resolutions. It has to become, let's see, no, resolutions is still the one. I'm not sure if that's right what you said, Peter. I think I'm just gonna have to use like force or something. Yeah, resolutions seem fine. Could not resolve. Yeah, I'm a little stuck here. Since npm 8, you can use overrides. Oh, okay, overrides. Let's do that then. I'm not sure if that's gonna help, but we'll try. Oh, yes! Thank you, brother. Very good. Again, I'm a bit concerned still, guys, because what we're doing here is I'm not sure if this is gonna stick around. Like we're taking 19, but we're still applying the types of 18, and then we're telling everyone, every other library here is like use 19, shut up. And that's the downside of starting to use candidates, like release candidates. No one is ready for them, right? And yeah, when they go from 18 to 19, if it's one of these first numbers, that means there have been breaking changes. If it wasn't breaking, they would have done 18.8, right? But because we went to 19, something got fucked, right? So we are here to find out what it is. But luckily, we don't have to care because we have no users in our app, so that's a good start. Oh shit, I do have to run my API. Okay, well here we are. That is, everything works, so I'm feeling good, feeling very good. Now the question is, can I start removing all my use memos and expect everything to still work, right? That's of course the big thing. I guess use callbacks too, right? Everything can go away. So it's even hard to test, right? Because yeah, it's not like I can put a log in there now. This feels so weird already. We're just gonna do it and then see what happens to everything. Use effect, I assume, has to remain the same. I mean, come on. Well, yeah, this must be only on use callback, use memo, things that you can do automatically. Look at this code. Look at how it melts, right? That makes me very happy, guys. Like the amount of code that's getting removed. What's this? On-click listener must be a function. Is it not? What is this thing? This may be just an issue with the refresh because I'm changing things. So let's observe all those errors after. No more use memo. No more use callback. Oh, imagine removing all of this everywhere now. Ooh, that's going to be painful. But also what's painful is like like I'm using the scope of this function. So I still kind of want to execute this function as a function. So that's going to require something like this. Or maybe it's happy with this. Maybe it's fine. Yeah, this is okay, I guess. So I just turn it into a normal self-executing function. It's not as beautiful. It's funny, I once saw someone call this dog balls, which is so weird. Like, and because I used to do it also like that, which I guess now it's not very happy with. It wants it to be like this. But this is at least not dog balls. Anyway, self-executing function right here. I define it and then immediately execute it. And the reason I do that is because I want to have these return values flow control. Is there a better way to do that? Yes, there is. Let me show you guys. And I do want to do that here in this case, because it could be very cool. So what I want to do is I want to connect. Oh no, it's not that easy, because here we're using muted, which is a different value. No, it's not as easy. In fact, this function is still kind of the nicest way, I think, to do it. We could also define a new function that's literally outside of this thing. Because let's see, muted, but no, muted are values that come from here. No, we can't. It has to be like this. We'll leave it like this for now. Yeah, I'm sorry for all the considerations here, but you know, if I make this choice here, it means for every other place where I have the same issue, I want to make the same choice. So it's kind of like, kind of important to make that choice very slowly and consciously. Okay, now here we've got another use memo that disappears. Wow. I'm very curious if this is all going to work well. This is really React coming out and giving us candy, guys. Like really, this is a big, big change, I think, for front-end developers. Like sometimes use memos like this are really nice. I've already kind of written them so like I'm really in it. Normally when I try to make these use memos, I try to like do it without even opening the curly braces, right? So I try to immediately provide the value that I want, because I use a certain style of functional programming very often. And in that case, changing all of this is very easy, because you just remove whatever was around it and it's fine. So that's very good to see. I did not think I was going to upgrade my React version to a release candidate when I started the stream today. That is really cool. Yeah, there we go. Now the biggest pain is going to be inside these hooks, because hooks, I am explicit about using an endless amount of functions to get them done. So, and again, we do want to keep this as a function. Just want to remove whatever is around it. That was it, right? Yeah, just a load function. And then here, use player. This compiler is so smart. Like if it understands this, then it's a really smart compiler. Let's see. On playing. So this is also interesting, because before we were moving these functions like on playing, we were moving them up because I was concerned about I was concerned about their performance, but now I don't have to. But actually in this case, because we're in a hook, I still want to keep them like this. So yeah, nothing much is going to change. Let's just keep going. Imagine now I restart the app and it's all broken. And I have to like Control Z all these changes. Oof. The horror. Yeah, these use memos are really the most annoying ones. Executing those like this is kind of, yeah. I really hope that this style of returning and immediately executed is getting caught by the compiler. But yeah, that's why we're doing this test now. Use effects, I think, are unaffected, so those are all going to stay, and that's it. Good, player is good, and then the store, I'm assuming, did not change. So, okay, so first of all, let's just start the app from scratch and see if we get any errors that way, because maybe the errors we saw were related to hot reloading. Oh, that's not good. Expected onClick listener to be a function, but got some weird object instead. Okay, so it is an onClick that's attached to a font awesome, and it, yeah, in the app inside of a bunch of divs, so I really don't know which one it will be. And I think all of them, I guess we're just gonna have to like unclick it, like undo it until we see which one it was. Let's do it the opposite way then. Let's just keep removing it. Oh. And see which file it was first. So I'm just going to comment them all out in one file. Lastly, this one. And let's see. Okay, then we restart. Again, hot reloading seems to have suffered already. But okay, I can live with getting a bit of weirdness around the hot. Okay, so it wasn't in the player file. So where could it be? There's only like click track and play track. Other than that, I don't know. Oh, the queue is closed, so the clue. Oh, no, still the same. But these are inside of divs, not font awesome, so I don't need to do all of them. It's only inside of font awesome, and again, I think I've had... Oh, it must be this one. Oh, and that, I think this is very realistic. Yeah, because of course, in the beginning... Well, no, this toggle max... Let's see. I think it must be just simply that one. Yeah. Restart. No. Ah, that is weird. Oh, it tells me something. Yeah, that is hard to decode for me. Expected onClick listener to be a function, but I just literally have almost not a single... Oh, here. Yeah. I'll just comment out the entire thing. And here too. Okay, all of the things are done. Yeah. Oh, come on. Oh, God. Oh, it doesn't want to go. It doesn't even want to open. Like it has this weird behavior now. Always closing. Why? Like I just commented out something. How can that change anything? Right? Oh, oh, I'm stupid. Oh God, look at this. This was the one that I fucked up. It was like permanently minimizing it all the time. Okay, and that must have caused everything, yeah. What an error, what an error. Okay, and so there's nothing wrong. Wow, okay, well, React did an excellent job because the only errors I made during this conversion were my own. And the other issue was maybe related to using a release candidate. But honestly, that's like, you know, a very temporary issue that's not going to stay. So I am very impressed by what the React developers have done, and I can totally understand that they're using this in production. Let's see. Putting everything back. Yeah, I think we're totally good again. And let's see if we now... Yeah, okay. So that the hot reloading again is an issue. I don't know what I'm going to do about that because I don't want to see those errors all the time. Let's see if it is just an error and breaks the app or not. So let's just comment out something. Now it says expected constant size argument of each invocation, but suddenly it changed. Right, and then can I still work with the app? Yes, and I can just clear the errors. Oh, but then it is very unhappy with this. Yeah. So hot reloading broke because of something that now changed that it didn't expect to change. It's still always using like an old version. Oh no. Okay, let's do some research, see if we can maybe figure out why this is happening. Expected a constant size. Let's see. So it has to do with the compiler. Hot reloading broken when... Oh, I can actually search this also over here. Hot reloading broken when using React compiler. And then it needs to really use this React compiler. Like, that's very important. Yeah, this is all just nonsense. Maybe this. Maybe I can do like a more old school way of hot reloading where you just, it's not hot, like it reloads the entire thing whenever you make a change, like something very basic like that, you know? So I don't have to manually do it. Hot database. Maybe I can configure the hot reloading. Close plugin, hot restart, close bundle. Seems like it's something like this. Reload or restart. Plugin. So basically what we want is, what does restart? Restart sounds worse than reload. Like when I think of reload, okay, let's not think about that. Let's just say, instead of complaining about this, can you demonstrate how you've called the Electron API using React? Absolutely. That's actually a really easy and wonderful thing about how Electron works. And really, it's the only thing that... So you have 3 files. So first of all, we have to look at the configuration of how things are set up. I think that's the main config in this case of Forge, Vita base. Let's see, we've got... these are just some other things. This is the main file. So we've got these 3 things, right? Main, preload, and renderer. and they all three are in a different place. Main is the code that controls the windows. So if you want to talk to the API of Electron, that one really lives inside of the main file. So this is the config for main. The actual main file is here. And here what I do is I have this IPC main that I can import from Electron from here. And here I can ask it to handle certain events that can come, right? So I'm listening to things. I'm listening to the close, the minimize, and the toggle, which are functions I've defined, right? And I'd hook them up to these things that then control this window object that gets created in the create window. So when I create the first window, I'm listening to some events that can be sent to this window. And also, I'm now in the preloader in rep preferences. I give it a preloader, and this preloader is very special because this is like a server-side script, like something that runs inside Node.js, but it has access to the window in the HTML side, like in the website, right? So we can go to the preload to see what happens. Here we can import something called a context bridge, which is kind of funny because it has this function called expose in main world, where you can kind of create a global, like a window dot something. So I say I created something called Electron API and gave it these three functions. And then in my app, I can just say, look, I have this Electron over here. I was lazy and I just said, look, this is any. Hands in the air. I don't give a shit. You know, fuck it. Actually, theoretically though, let me actually do it right. Like, can I see... Because if I know the type of this object, hey, Code Cafe, maybe we should just do it something like this, right? Const Electron API equals this. And I can see the type. Yeah, it's not very clean. Well, it's clean enough. It's clean enough. I'll take it, I guess. Can I export it from here and load it? Maybe. Let's try it. Export Electron API export type Electron API equals type of Electron API. Maybe I can do it like this, export it, and then import it over here. Yeah, window and Electron. Yeah, it's the Electron API. I'm wondering if this import is even gonna work, because it's just a type import, so you would expect maybe that to be fine. Maybe we can do, so we'll just say as any here to make sure it just doesn't error, and then as Electron API. Right, and then if I do Electron, if I do Electron dot, yeah, okay. Look, it's not the cleanest way. I guess the cleanest way. What is the type of the global? Is it like, can I just say global? Is that a type? Yeah, it is. No? Why is it not happy to combine these things? Do I have to like... No idea. TypeScript can sometimes be such a crybaby. Like it's crying about things. I just want to tell you what it's like, man. Is this a function? Can I use this as a function? No. Ah, it's weird. It's weird. It's weird. It's weird. Let's just say this. We're done. This at least makes it a little better because now it is typed when I use it. Found a dev that has an issue with use effect not re-triggering on hot reload. But it seems like this hot reload generally does work. Yeah, I've been having issues now with it. I don't know why it's not... oh wait, but now... I think my fix did it. But what I did was really ugly, right? Let me saw what I did. Wait, I did make the change, right? Where was it? No, I didn't make the change yet. It's still the same. Yeah, it's still the same. Huh. But wait. I think that was just a random change. I think, wait a minute. If I change what I actually did before, which was change or remove one of those handlers, that's a different story. Let me see. Peter says, maybe compare his Vita configuration with yours. Yeah, I could, but for now, let me keep trying. So let's see, if I just remove this. Yeah, see, then it's bad. But I was going to try something. I was going to try to fix the hot reload by... So here we have a restart as an option. And I think over here, we say reload. If I just say also here restart, like I always want you to completely restart the entire app. Is that valuable? Is this thing now like permanently screwed? Oh no, it's not. Okay, so if I turn this off, that's bad. It's always erroring until I turn it back. Yeah, that's not helping. So this rename from reload to restart did not do much. Where did I do it? Shit. Let's check the git logs. Here we added that. Here we did the change. It was the only change as well. Discord. Okay. But that's preload. I mean, it shouldn't even really matter, right? Like the thing that changes is this one. This is the big one. So, but here I don't even see any hot reloading, anything. I'm gonna just search for like completely reloading. Yeah, there it is. Handle. Okay. I think you can use the plugin handle hot update for this feature, which I think... Oh, isn't that there yet? Where do we do the full reload? Here, right? Oh, this is in the base. Oh, that makes sense. But this is just for close bundle. I think I can just add this thing here for handle hot update. No, it's not there anymore. Handle. Oh, handle update. It is there. Okay. And do we still get the server from inside here? Yes, we do. Great. Then I can just get this code over here. We're turning it off. We're not going to hot reload. We're just going to manually reload the entire app. I don't really mind. Yeah, I know, Peter. Peter's talking about football here. Yeah, a colleague of mine. I have colleagues in France and England. And one guy was saying today how he was happy that like all the countries that are playing in the semifinals are represented in the team. So we all, every colleague has their own horse to bet on. So I guess I'm for the Dutch team. Go Holland. Netherlands. All right. Now, if I make a change, it should just reload the entire thing. I'm not seeing anything. That's not good. Oh. Oh, this is not good, guys. This is pretty bad. Handle hot update. But maybe this plugin hot restart, I'm not using that everywhere, right? I'm using it in base, and no, in base I define it. In main and reload I say it, but I never say it in, I never say it further down. Let me see if I can also put it in the renderer config. Because it's so weird that it's not there, right? You would expect this to be there. Okay. And also let me just completely restart to see if that maybe has an effect. Oh, wait, I messed something up. There. All right. Okay, so now I want to go back to this. I mean, this issue has been taking a bit of time. It's good to learn this now, but I think the guys at Vita will fix this by the time that this is no longer a release candidate. But it's still good to already kind of figure out to fix this or not. So I'm going to comment this out again. If this still fails, then I'm just not going to... Hey, there we go. It works. It just does a complete reload now, which is fine, especially for this app. Like, it's totally fine. Yes, we lose our hot reloading. So for a complicated app with a bunch of routes, well, actually, even with a bunch of routes, it's fine. Like, basically, it will reload from the URL that you're on. So just use the good URL, put your state in the URL if you can, right? If you want to keep it on refresh. And that is actually a totally fine thing. Like, yes, you lose the hot reload, but it's still pretty hot. It just reloads kind of a little bit slower, I guess, because it doesn't use the real kind of React way of reloading. It just kind of just clicks on refresh, right? Which is the old school way. But I'm not unhappy with that at all. And if that solves my issue and doesn't create any errors on memos and weirdness, I mean, the benefit, guys, is that apparently now I just don't need to use memo and use callback anymore. In fact, do I still have any use callback? Wait a minute. Oh yeah, but I have it defined, but it's not used, so I can just remove them. That is incredible. Never thought I'd see the day where these kind of things just go away. Use memo, not there. Use callback. I mean, for a use callback fanatic that I was, this is a big change. I realize for people who come into the stream, they're not programmers, and they're like, why is this guy gushing about a word leaving the screen? Yeah, you're right, man. I'm lost. I'm lost. Okay, yeah. Well, I am very happy with this. It has been 2 hours. I wanted to do between 2 and 3 hours, so I think having finished this now, I mean, let's do a little bit more testing, see if things are fine. Yeah, things are really fine. I mean, it's really working. The playlist is working wonderfully. Now, you could say one thing I'm thinking about is like showing either the sidebar, the details pane, or the queue, and not showing both. It feels kind of logical to me to make a choice. Maybe this is even the place where for the first time we want to use React Router. Because it's like, yeah, we could also just use a state variable for it. I understand that. But should we? Actually, we already kind of have a state variable for it. Because we can reuse selected, which is a property. By the way, for those who don't know, because I know you guys, if you haven't seen every stream, this is our state, right? This. So everything that's already in here, we should just use. And we have this one thing over here, which is selected. And I can say if selected is null and there is a queue, then just show the queue. Right? And then if selected is a value, then show it that instead. I think I will do that. I will make that choice. So we're going to go to, let's put that in because I don't like these two things next to each other. And I also don't think that's how Spotify does it. I think they make a choice between what to show in that little sidebar. So we're going to do the same. We're going to say, look, this is only if there is a selected, and the queue is only ever shown if there is not a selected. There. That's cool. And then the queue is further not shown if there is no queue, but that's we do inside of the other object, right? But now it's weird. See now, oh, this is so weird because if I click on add to queue, I guess that means that I want, or even if I double click something. Now, if I double click, it's fine. But if I click on add to queue, I want to make selected go away. Append queue. Wow, I mean, I'm still getting flabbergasted by seeing these raw functions straight in the render loop. That's so weird to even think about, but it really works. That's fantastic. Okay, so as long as I don't break the rules of React, which I don't think I do. Okay, so append queue, I just need to update and always put selected on null. I need to do that here, and I need to do that here. This is a bit too big by now. So we're gonna just put some things around it. Good. So now if I add some, if I click here, I can just play it normally. And if I don't add something to the queue, it takes away that thing and shows that instead, which is very decent. I like that. The track list, by the way, has a grow. I know that, but then the details, how big is details? Because I think it's slightly different. This is 52 and the other one is the queue is 56. So let's make that 52 as well. And then how do I, this kind of needs to be resized, maybe a little bit of padding. For now I'm fine. That's a bit of styling that we can look at later, but this is pretty clean. And then I can single click. And now we need a button to go back and look at the queue. And I think that's normally like put somewhere here in the corner. In fact, let me very calmly look over here. Yeah, it's on the left of the menu, on the left of the icon. So we're gonna put that in as well. Player. We're gonna have a font awesome, a very simple one. How are these done? This is flex. Justify end goes to the right, makes sense. This is the volume icon, which changes. We'll put this one next to it. On click, we're going to simply update and put selected on null. And yeah, I mean, this should show the queue, but, right, I have this issue now. Let's see. If the queue has no length, you can't click on queue, right? That kind of makes sense. So queue.length. Oh, I don't even have the queue here. I don't have it in the player. That's, no, I do. See, I do. Then why are you complaining? Cannot find queue. Did I misspell it? What's happening? Oh yeah, I just haven't defined it here. That's strange. All right, so yeah, queue length. If there is no queue length, then we want to show it. So exclamation mark. Then the pointy events go to none. It goes almost off, and that's great. It's semi-translucent normally. If you click on it, it opens. Should I give it that orange color if it's open? Maybe, right? I think that kind of makes sense. That's what we do for things like loop, right? We can say here, we do something like that. Wait, is this the right one? Text and hover text. Yeah, that's fine. That's the right one. We'll do that here too. So we'll add a third value. There we go. And instead of track and shuffle, we're gonna look at that we have nothing selected and queue has a length. And we're gonna put 2 exclamation marks there to make sure it's a true or false. Cannot find name selected. Okay, yeah, that has to come from here. Okay. Yeah, I think that's it. Let's see. Oh, and now we have to pick a nice icon, of course. So again, time for our font awesome icons list. I mean a queue. What is a queue? Like a list. Free. I'm poor. We only use solid, by the way. There, solid list. What is like a nice list? I think the normal list probably is the best. It's a bit boring, maybe. It's not what Spotify uses. They have this other weird kind of list. Maybe there is a word for queue. No. Okay, I think just list is gonna be fine. Because that it is a list. It's a queue, which is a list. FA list. Okay, let's see if this worked. The reload takes time though, that's frustrating. But look, now it's semi-translucent. I can't click it, that's good. I double click. It's there. And then boom. Maybe I can click it again to turn it off. That makes sense to me. So we can say selected is either null. Oh, but wait. There is no other way to hide it. Yeah, you can't hide it. Because what do I have to show? That means the queue has to be empty. And it's not. It's fine. You just can't turn it off. It's a feature. Hey, that's weird. I'm playing something. I want to show this. When I double click something, that's fine. But then when I single click this, why does it replace it? That's a bug. Okay, so what is the button that we're using? We're using append queue, right? This is the append thing. And we did do a lot of work on that append queue. So yes, I messed something up. We said if the index of the first is -1 cannot be found, then we're just going to add it to the end. Else, it's splicing, so it should be, or repeat is none. Let's figure out then, if I double click something and I add one, that's not working correctly. And it's also, it starts playing it, which is weird. Like, that's never what I want, right? I never want to just start playing. If I have loop turned on and I now do like this, then it's fine. So this is the correct one, because this means the repeat is not none. And I think that's this one. The repeat is not none. But before, when the repeat was none, it did something I didn't want to do. And I think I understand why. Yeah, because look, we are putting this in front of the first, but there's an exception here. Oh, it's kind of dirty. And that's that the index of the first is 0. So we want to execute this if either the index is 0 or -1, meaning if it is less than 1. I can say less or equals to 0. That logic is a little annoying to understand. Hey, Nira. And now it works fine. And it does make sense, guys. And it's hard to explain, but look, if the index is on 0, that means it should just behave like a normal playlist, right? Because everything should just be appended at the end. But as soon as this song plays and we go to the next one, like imagine I add a couple of songs and we go to this one. Oh shit, that was bad. Because now, sorry, another bug. We need to remove this click track from the queue. When you click something on the queue, it does nothing anymore. You have to double click it in order for it to switch to the song. Okay, but back to the explanation. So I'm gonna, we're gonna start with this. I'm gonna add this, this, and this. If I now click on add queue like I have been doing, it just adds it to the end. That's good, that's the fix. But if I now go here, theoretically it hides it, but here is the first, it's right here, right? It's not actually part of the document object model, but if I show this, see, it understand in the array that we have defined, this one is here. And that's why I wrote all that logic where I was like, if I now click on add queue while this is hidden, I want to add it before that one, right? But that logic should not happen when you're playing it as the first. If this would be the first one, and I'm say adding it before, then I'm adding it away, so it's not working, like it's not correct. Anyway, lots of talking, but in the end, fix the bug by just changing this append queue function to low index first is lower or equals to 0, in which case it has to behave normally, or we are looping or repeating, in which case we're also gonna behave normally. So the only case in which we're not going to be normal is if we are clicking on some index far away and we are not repeating. Yeah. Okay, well, I'm happy. I'm good with the progress. Thank you to my brother, especially for all the suggestions, especially the suggestion with the compiler. This is very exciting. This means we are running our code base is going to be running on the release candidate of React 19, right? So it's the latest version of React that most people are not using right now, even though Meta themselves are using it in production apps. So that really highlights, by the way, a lot how much people are happy with this system. Thank you, Peter. So I mean, the fact that they switched to it, even though it's still in release candidate, I mean, okay, it's weird because theoretically you could say, look, Meta developed it. So even though it's a release candidate, they are the developers behind it. So of course, there are other developers that are building, like Facebook, will rely on it if their team tells them like it's good. Yeah, I was also surprised by how easy the migration was, Peter. Like this is it. I mean, it was all kind of my fault. Like like a little bit of NPM stuff. Remember, right? The overrides if you use yarn and or if you use npm, resolutions if you use yarn probably. That is a little bit annoying for the installation. The fact that the types are still kind of from the old version could be annoying, but so far it doesn't seem to break anything. I'm actually really happy with this. And then I found it weird that React was rendering at all, considering that I never explicitly used the React plugin in the renderer. But now I do. It's not Rust based, which I'm sad about because I love the Rust one. Now we're just using the classic Vue.js plugin React. And there we're putting in the Babel plugin React compiler. The one thing I think the docs did not clearly say, I guess that's feedback for Meta in case they're looking. No one from Meta is going to be looking at this stream, guys. I'm sorry. But but if they do, then I found it weird that they didn't explicitly mention to install the React compiler runtime. I mean, that should be mentioned at the top of the file, like start with an npm install. I bet that it was like on the front page and I wasn't looking. Like I was looking at this. Okay, let's see if they ever mention the word React compiler runtime. See, that's weird, right? Like I'm on the React main page. I'm on the React compiler page. I'm searching for the value, the thing I need to install to make everything run. And they're not saying it. Like there's no npm install at the top for this, right? They just start talking about these health checks and plugins. What? Yeah, version 0.0 is also beautiful. Like, screw it. But okay. Yeah, for sure. I mean, it wasn't running when I didn't have it. Okay. My brother's asking if is it needed. If you don't have it, like, does everything still work? Let's just do a complete rm rf. Oh, I can't do that because I'm not in Linux. Shit. But let's just delete the entire node modules here. I deleted it, right? There is no more React compiler runtime. It's also nowhere else. It's only one. I'm just gonna double check this because it would be nice not to have some weird value in there. But I'm pretty sure because I got this error from Vita all the time that said like compiler not found, compiler not found. So it seems logical. It's always interesting how long it takes to delete a node modules folder. I mean, it's a big folder, that's true. Oh, never mind. It was waiting for permissions. Yeah. Delete permanently. Go away. All right. npm I. npm start. What is happening? It's fine. Well, luckily I have the stream now to look back at when I felt like I had to install this React compiler runtime. But it's now working fine. This is nothing, right? These are just some... Why is this giving me an error? Sustant? Yeah, it's just... I think it just needs to... Yeah. Just reload. Okay, well, that's really good, Peter, that you did that, because that you requested me to check that, because... yeah, that not being part of it is a big one. I hope also that this just comes as a dependency from one of the ESLint ones, the ones they ask you to install. That they basically have a plugin underneath that where that compiler is used. So very good. You don't want to define those dependencies where you don't need to. Yeah, you should check out Vita for sure, Peter, because it's nowadays recommended. I don't know which one started recommending it. I think it's React themselves that recommend it. Let's see. Installation. All right, Peter. Yeah, you're gonna put an alarm for the football match. That's great, man. Good luck and enjoy your holiday, man. All right, and I'm gonna end the stream here too, because I feel like we've made really good progress. Again, if you want React 19, this is now in the code base. So it was a bit of a struggle to get it in, but much easier than initially expected. And I'm actually pretty confident that this is gonna be the way that it's gonna work in the future. So yeah, recommend everyone to try this out, because now we no longer have any use callback, use memo, which is a big change. I did explain it to some guys in the chat before, and now it's gone. So it's kind of funny, right, how things work out in the development world. Yeah, it feels weird to me still to see this function, for instance, without a use callback around it. But I think this is definitely going to be really much easier. And remember, the main goal that we want is to work fast. Oh, just a second, gotta open the door. Okay. So yeah, we want to move fast. We want to keep our code simple. And now with this compiler React, the developers have really simplified our lives. And I am very happy with that. So that was amazing. It was a bit of a pain, but now if you download this code base from my GitHub, then you won't have to experience any of the pain. Of course, I did turn off hot module reloading. And now it's just doing a manual refresh when you change the code. Some people will not be happy with that. I'm fine with it. So I'm good. Yeah. So that was it. I'm going to commit this and upload it, and then it's time. Also, from now on, I'm going to be doing like the live stream stuff. I'm going to put this video on unlisted and re-upload it as a normal video. So that's going to be... oh, just a second. I have to open the door again. Okay, really time for me to go. But yeah, I'm going to end the stream. And what was I saying? Yeah, I'm going to re-upload the video, and that way it just goes to the normal video tab. So that's going to be great. So, okay, thanks everyone. And yeah, see you tomorrow. Same time.